Not on this level. We've never seen a cast like this in a film that's been assembled. And just like the Avengers put all their characters together and they assembled together, this was like the Avengers of African American actors and actresses being assembled to create something amazing. The only reason why I'm bringing it up is because people keep asking me, how do you feel about Black Panther? You think it's, I can't believe they're all showing up now. Of course they're showing up. You finally gave them something to watch. It's movie night, and we're talking about Black Panther and its importance in the African American community, and in particular, why it's so important for people like me, who is African American, and all the other ones out there who grew up basically not having a superhero to identify with completely. Even though I see people as human beings across the board, that does not mean that other people see it that way. Some people really do need that one thing that will attach them to a character, to a story, to something that will transport them out of their current predicament, their current situation, their current lifestyle, their current living situation, and into a world where they can not only identify with a character, but also identify what the character is going through in their environment, and it's easier for us to understand it. I've had so many questions since Black Panther has come out. It's been out 4 days. I'm recording this on President's Day. I've seen it twice in 24 hours. I took my wife to see it yesterday. Took my son to see it today. And in both viewings, I saw something that I never really honestly thought I would see. In a theater that's always dominated by mostly white people, because this particular theater I go to is one of the best theaters we have out here, but unfortunately it's right next to a casino, and it's on the county side of in St. Louis, St. Charles County. And in St. Charles County, it is severely predominantly white. So when I go see most of the big budget films, especially the big blockbusters like Black Panther, you don't see a whole lot of black people walking around in these theaters. And in the last few days, I saw more African Americans show up for Black Panther and in this theater than I have on all the years I've been going to theaters out here in St. Louis, Missouri. It was nice. The last time I remember that kind of stuff happening was back in the 80s and 90s when I grew up, where there were a ton of African American based films that came out, comedies. Eddie Murphy was hot at the time. You had a bunch, Keenan Ivory Wayans was hot at the time. You had a bunch of African American movies that were based around comedies and action, and it was great. We had people like Carl Weathers that was out there. It was really, really good to see those films. Unfortunately, around the 2000s, it just really hasn't been a whole lot of that. You just don't see an all predominantly black cast in Hollywood anymore. It just isn't there. So to see this movie come out, and what's great about it, because Hollywood is greedy, they see dollar signs. We're gonna see more African American movies like this in these big budget films, as long as they are continuing to succeed and the audience show up. They're going to make them, and that's good. That's great. Like I said, we have Luke Cage on Netflix. We have Black Lightning. And look at the way I'm saying it. That's like three things compared to, if you want to talk about the plethora of films that Caucasians get, which it is what it is, but it is nice for us to have somebody, because I ain't going to lie to you. Of course, when I see Black Panther on screen, that makes me feel good. I'm like, that could be me. That's me. I can identify with that. The themes in it, with Killmonger, I can see myself doing exactly what Killmonger did in that film, based on his ideology. I could see myself doing that easy. I can see myself in so many roles. I see my mother in those proud, amazingly badass women in this film. I see my sister and all my family members. I looked at the screen and I saw what I've known my whole life, and I love it. Now, some people might say, "Well, you're married to a white woman." I am in an interracial marriage. I have an interracial son. That does not mean I'm not proud to be black. at all. I just don't see color. I see human beings. But I'm not fucking stupid either. I can look on the screen and say, you know, it feels good because regardless if I'm married or not, I'm still African American. Further than that, I don't even think there was a Caucasian woman in the film. Now that I think about it. And that's, when was the last time you saw a movie when there was no Caucasian woman in the film? That's pretty incredible. There was two main Caucasian men leads and side characters in this film. There are no Caucasian women in this film. I just thought about that, but that's crazy. You don't, when you think about it, it's pretty incredible. It's just pretty incredible. So when I see something, I identify with it. That's why this is so important, because now Hollywood can say, you know what? There's a whole audience out there we've been fucking ignoring for decades. And just because we're the minority doesn't mean we don't show up as the majority for a film that you put out for us. Because every screen that I'm into, even in the whitest theater I've ever seen, which is the one I go to, even it's the best one, but it's literally the whitest theater you can think of. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was nice to be able to say, hey, look, can we have a shot of coming in and actually enjoying a film that you put on screen? That's the importance of it. And of course, there's been other great films out there that are African American based. I love some of the, you know, you're talking about Selma, 12 Years a Slave. You're talking Amistad by Steven Spielberg is a great film that caters to us, that films we can identify with. And what makes Black Panther great is that it's not only a message about social inequality and oppression of African Americans, which that theme is in the film. It is also great because it's a great movie and it fits into the overall. It's not a eyesore in the MCU. It's actually one of the better films, and that helps so much. I do not see color at all. There are some people that are severely pro-black, just like there's severely pro-white people out there who are not going to go see this film because of the cast. All you got to do is go on Twitter or YouTube and look at one of the reviews and read the comment section. You'll see what a lot of white people think about this movie. They say it sucks just because it's a bunch of black people. And that's their opinion. There's a lot of black people that don't watch these, has never seen any of the MCU films because they are predominantly white and they would like to see some diversity in the roles. And I can't disagree with that. It does get old after a while. You just want to see something different. That doesn't make you a racist. It just means you want to see something quite different than what they're offering. And if what they're offering is the same thing over and over and over again, and you're basically excluding a whole population of your country, you would think Hollywood would have thought of it, you know, hey, maybe we should include some of the African Americans in some of these films and stop making them just side characters. Maybe we should put more women, and this has got nothing to do with race. They need to put more women in these films. You're a socialist justice warrior. Fuck you. I guess I am then. They need to put more female characters in roles like they did in Black Panther, period of what race they are. These women are badass. And they fucking performed, and they did a great job. And any woman, regardless of your race, should be proud. But even if the African American women should be even more proud, because they finally got to see themselves as they really are. Warriors, queens, princesses. That's what I like about this movie. These are not people with just a bunch of money running around and somebody who just developed superpowers out of nothing. This is a whole country of specialness. Is that a fucking word? Anybody can be a billionaire. Anybody can be, you know, can learn how to fight. Anybody can develop technology. Not anybody can be a fucking king of a country. And that's what makes Black Panther so special. He is a king. And whenever you have something like that in the film, as a character, that's great. But for us to say, you know what, our superhero is a king, that's awesome. I am so proud of my African American heritage to begin with, but to see all of people of color come out and see this film, support this film, boosting it to one of the best opening weekends in box office history, behind Star Wars and its fellow Avengers movie. It's really hard to put into words how nice it is to feel that. I have to kind of put it in context of Barack Obama becoming president. It almost feels that type of feel is there, where you have so many people coming out to support something that not only is a film, but it's a good film. So we're not out supporting trash. It's actually a really, really good film. It's my personal favorite of the Marvel films, and I don't think if I was white it would make any difference. I just think Black Panther is the best Marvel film they've ever produced. I like it. Am I biased because I enjoy seeing an all-black cast mostly? Yeah. Are there Caucasians in this movie? Yeah. Are they going around beating up Caucasians in the movie? That's why I like it? No, that's not it. In fact, they're fighting each other. But the overall message of the film, I'm not going to do spoilers in this film, so you don't have to worry about me spilling out the story. We're not talking about the story of Black Panther. We're talking about its importance to the African American community. Going into the theater and actually seeing Chadwick Boseman up there and Michael B. Jordan and some of the older actors like Angela Bassett and Forrest Whitaker, it was so nice to see this cast all come together. It was something that a lot of people don't realize how long African Americans have been waiting for something on this scale to come out. The opportunities has just not been there. We knew it was coming once we saw Black Panther in Civil War. We knew, okay, his movie will be coming, and now we are a part of this MCU just like everyone else is. Because a lot of people think, well, it's just a race thing. What do you care? It's if you put it into context, you can see very easily why we care. If you grew up your entire life and you're looking at Superman and Batman and Spider-Man, just to name a few. Then you get into the Avengers, you got Captain America, you got Hawkeye, you got Black Widow, you have Iron Man, you have all these people in these films. Even talking about villains, the Joker is white, the Penguin's white, all the villains in the MCU, Loki, all of them, they're not there. And then people say, well, no, that's not true. You have Falcon, you have War Machine, Halle Berry played Catwoman. Let's put this into context real quick. Halle Berry playing Catwoman does not count because most people don't even consider that to be a film. It is so bad that I actually like it. That's how bad it is. So that doesn't count. Falcon is a side character. War Machine is a side character. Neither one of them would exist without their counterpart, right? They are sidekicks. Falcon is a sidekick to Captain America. Without Captain America, there is no Falcon. And War Machine is a sidekick to Tony Stark. Without Tony Stark, there is no War Machine. Black Panther is a fucking king of Wakanda. He is a king. He's not a side character to anybody. He's the man. And not only is he the man, but you see him in the Winter Soldier, he doesn't give a damn what anybody thinks about him. Because he walks around, hey, I'll take my fucking mask off. He doesn't care. We love that. And the message in Black Panther, with Killmonger, basically his whole point of his plot is for him to basically liberate all African Americans around the world and give them a chance to fight back against people he feel like he has been oppressed against. And you have that point of view, and you have Black Panther's point of view. You can see where Killmonger is coming from in the film, and I suggest you go see it. Again, I'm not going to get into more in the story. That's about as far as I'm going to go. You need to go see it. This film is going to get excellent word of mouth, unlike Catwoman, because this is actually a great film. This film works all by itself. Yeah, it works better if you've seen Civil War or some of the Avenger films. But this movie is a film from beginning to end. It's its own beast. You do not need to see the other ones to get it. I've heard some people say you do not need to see Civil War to get it. They tie you in. They put it in. There's a lot of people who show up to these theaters who are applauding and has never seen a superhero movie in their lives. And they love this film. My favorite characters are Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. Growing up, of course you're going to like them because those are the ones who were shoved down your throat the most when I was growing up. Black Panther, we knew about him, we loved him, but to be honest, Blade was the very first superhero, black superhero, even though he was a fucking vampire. I remember when Blade came out, me and my friends, we all went nuts because we finally got to see Wesley Snipes, an African American, kicking ass on screen and got it for 3 films. And a lot of people say that the Blade franchise, which is Marvel, is the one who started all of these superhero movies because X-Men, which a lot of people say X-Men is the one that started the superhero stuff, the success of Blade is what really where it started as far as Marvel went. That's when we realized you can put people in character just like they are in the graphic novels and translate to the screen. It started with Blade. A lot of people forget about that. And if you want to go back further, it really did start even further than that with Tim Burton's Batman films, which are great films. If you want to go further than that, the ultimate one is the Richard Donner Superman. The very first Superman started all these superhero movies. But the modern day ones, Blade was pretty much after the failure of Batman and Robin. Blade was one of the first big comic book movies to come back out, and we loved Blade. But after Blade, we really didn't get anything else after that. We are now getting into shows like Netflix where you have Luke Cage, you have Black Lightning. This is not a coincidence. It's people being aware that this world is more connected than we give it credit for. There were a ton of people of all races showing up to Black Panther. But for to have somebody like Black Panther who you can identify with as an African American, it feels good. And I think a lot of white people take that for granted that you guys can show up to any movie you want and you're going to have somebody in the film you can relate to because it's predominantly white. Can't tell you how many movies I've been to where there's not one black person in it, period. Now, a lot of times it's not their fault, but you take a movie like Dunkirk. It just came out last year. There's not a single black person in it. Now, I'm not saying it should because people are like, well, that's World War II. Yeah, that's my point, though. We don't have movies like that. And if it is, it won't be on that scale because Hollywood does not greenlight those types of films, and we don't have the directors to support it. Ryan Coogler, who directed Creed and also Black Panther, this man is an inspiration because he has done something a lot of African Americans have not been able to do. Some people bring up Tim Story, who directed the first two Fantastic Four films. That shit doesn't count because they flopped. They're not good films. They're okay, but we're talking about making Black Panther is on course to make $1 billion at the box office. Justice League didn't even make $1 billion. Justice League didn't even make it. I mean, when you start thinking about that, that's incredible. It's on pace to just completely obliterate a lot of the box office records. And that's because people of my color, African Americans, have been waiting for this. And we will show up if you make them. Just like we never thought we would see the day of our African American president, we got one in Barack Obama. A lot of us never believed we would be able to have a film that come out like Black Panther that's actually really good, directed by a black director, great characters in the film. And as far as African American women, the powerful women in this film adds another layer to it because regardless of what race you are, the women in this film are fucking amazing. They were beating ass. And women are eating it up, and they should, because these are some powerful women. And if anybody wants to bring that SJW, social justice warrior bullshit to Black Panther talking about that the women are overpowering the men, this ain't Star Wars, okay? This is a different type of film. These women are doing this shit. And these women in real life are in better shape than most men will ever wish they could be. These are some very physical, attractive African American women, and they were so good in this movie. That was another breath of fresh air from the standpoint of we never seen that. Not on this level. We've never seen a cast like this in a film that's been assembled. And just like the Avengers put all their characters together and they assembled together, this was like the Avengers of African American actors and actresses being assembled to create something amazing. We're excited because Black Panther is an amazing film. We're excited because it's nice to see a predominantly all black cast. And you do have a couple of white people in it, but I'm very proud of Ryan Coogler for directing this film. I'm very proud of the cast for doing such an awesome job. I'm very proud of Marvel for giving us the opportunity to do this, and I'm very proud of all of the African American support for them actually coming out and seeing this movie, which was made not just for them, but had them in mind the whole way. Because the plot says so. The plot works because they knew the African American community would show up and give this movie the right support that it needed. And you know, I'm gonna go back as many times as I possibly can just to support them. I'm gonna buy the soundtrack. I'm gonna pour as much money of my personal money into this film as I possibly can. Not only because I love it, but because I want to support this Hollywood in making sure that we get more films like this. I am a film student. I could easily be writing one of these scripts one day or being involved. I'm a film student. I love film. And the more money I pour into this, it does affect me in a way because it gives me motivation and inspiration to say, finally, I can actually, there's a reason why I should do this. I should continue writing. I should continue making my short films because now I can see in the future, we may have a chance, which we never had before. We may have a chance and I can actually get my foot in the door now because someone like Ryan Coogler goes out and makes a movie like this. And trust is everything. And unfortunately, in society in general, African Americans are not a very trusted race by anybody. And people have their reasons, and most of the time, I believe that they're unfounded because people like to stereotype and pull people together. This is a way to show people we can be trusted with something like a movie. It's a movie. we can do movies just like white people can do movies. We can write scripts just like white people write scripts. We can produce. We have cinematographers. We can act. We can do so many things. We just have to have the platform to get it out there. And that's why I love Black Panther, because finally that platform is here. It is killing it at the box office. I'm gonna go as many times as I can, buy as much merchandise as I can, soundtrack, the score. I'm going to get in that theater as many times as I can. I'm gonna bring as many people as I can to support this film, because I don't think it'd be the last of its kind, but we never know in this country. So I'm gonna make sure I eat it up as much as I can and support this movie. And I hope they don't fall back on old habits and believing we don't show up to things and this is some kind of flash in the pants outing. We will show up. I'm gonna show up anyway because I'm a film nut job. But the rest of those people who, the general audience who don't give a flying fuck about movies but came out to see Black Panther, that's telling Hollywood something, and I hope they get the message. See you on the next movie night. Take care.